Hey, what's going on people? In this video I showcase the best gear in Borderlands 3 in 2024 for all the Vault Hunters. We'll be going over everything from artifacts to class mods, where I'll also let you know what skills and passives you should aim for. I'll let you know where you can get each item and give you tips on how to best utilize them in Vault Hunter specific builds. Of course, I'll let you know their drop rates too, and give ratings for each Vault Hunter on how well they synergize with them. And let's crack into it. We open with base game shields, and what better shield to start than the prodigal son, the Transformer, which has an increased chance to drop from Queen Antoinette, that you can find around here in the Splinterlands. The Transformer is a shield with a great bullet absorption rate and also makes you immune to shock. In fact, it goes a step further by making any shock damage you take refill your shields. That's a big plus for survivability, allowing you to just shoot at the ground with a splash damage weapon to top up your shields completely. It's a great choice survivability shield for all the Vault Hunters, but does have certain synergy with the Bloodletter Moze or an Eraser Zane who's only dealing shock damage. Next up, the Frozen Heart, a unique shield that can only be dropped from Aurelia. You find around here in Black Barrel cellars. The Frozen Heart is an incredibly fun and useful shield. When depleted, it releases a Cryo Nova that has a high chance of freezing enemies and also returns 30% of that Nova damage back as health. The Novas are powerful enough to completely refill your health bar, and frozen enemies can't shoot you either, which is another plus for its survivability. It's best with an action skill start anointment and on characters that can activate them often, like a Rack Attack Flak, Zane with his cannon, or even Amara. However, its best synergy lies with Zane and an Icebreaker Victory Rush, an interaction that we'll expand on in the artifact section. Now to the Frozen Snowshoe, a shield that combines the effects of two, much like the Frozen Heart. This one can only be dropped from the Valkyrie squad during the Maliwan takedown. If you're familiar with the Mortal Snowshoe Moze, then this shield should be familiar. Whenever you slide with this shield equipped, it'll drain all remaining shield and deal a Cryo Nova with strength based on the amount of shields it drained. 30% of that Nova damage is returned as health, and with the Sparkplug prefix on your artifact and a Bloodletter class mod equipped, Moze can do some incredible things. Moving on to the Red Suit, another shield that's a dedicated drop. This one drops from Atomic around here in the Tazandir ruins. The Red Suit is similar to the Transformer, trading shock for radiation, but instead of absorbing that radiation, it makes you immune to it. That is a key difference, allowing radioactive dots to be applied to yourself, which can trigger effects. The main one that comes to mind is an elemental projector prefix on your artifact for a massive boost in radiation damage. All Vault Hunters can reap the benefits of that synergy by attempting to blow themselves up with a radioactive weapon, but it's most easily done on an Eraser Zane with increases to splash damage radius. The Stinger is definitely a highlight of the base game shields. This one can come in all of the elements, which is important for this one, and can only be dropped by Anathema during the Guardian takedown. While it's at its max capacity, you'll be granted 50% bonus melee damage, but that's not where the shield's at its best. It's at its best when its shield breaks and it summons a Nova that deals elemental melee damage, or non-elemental, it depends on the elemental type of the shield. Cryo is a great choice because of its synergy with the Punchy, and Incendiary couples great with the Unleash the Dragon artifact. Because it's one with the Punchy, its Novas can be incredibly strong, boosted by rolls on your artifacts and any Vault Hunter's skills. Those skills are largely seen within Amara, but it's also fantastic within a Peregrine Flak. To grenade mods now, we'll start with the Cloning Maddening Tracker, a purple grenade best farm for within vending machines, and there's a lot of them in the Spendopticon within the handsome Jackpot. The CMT is the #1 choice grenade mod for Moze, because it'll hit enemies more than anything else, providing higher chances to proc skills like Vampire, Redistribution, or Means of Destruction among a consecutive hits anointment. It works too on the other Vault Hunters, but it's particularly useful for Moze. Moving on to Its Piss, a grenade mod that can only be dropped from Sloth, but you can find Riding Thunk around here in Conrad's Hold. Its Piss is a fantastic choice grenade mod to increase your damage that bit further, as any enemies caught in its blast or should I say the Mist of Skag Urine, takes 20% increased damage for 6 seconds. It's a grenade mod you can never go wrong with, and I recommend it for every Vault Hunter. Now to the Hex, a grenade mod that comes in Shock, Cryo and Radiation. This one has an increased chance to drop from the Sky Bullies you fight around here in the Anvil. The Hex is the second tier down when you're looking for hits, behind the CMT, but its ability to irradiate enemies is a great bonus to have, making it faster in general for clear times. The best prefix include recurring or mitosis, splitting into 2 or 3 grenades during flight respectively. Moving on to the Hunter Seeker, a grenade mod that can come in all the flavors, including none. This one has an increased chance to drop from Drig and Rage, who are flying around with the Mother of Grogans around here in the Anvil. The Hunter Seeker is a grenade mod that is particularly useful for flak. That's because as it homes into enemies, it'll shoot them, able to hit crits when specced into Megavore, for it to refill your magazine and get your action skill back all by itself. As with the Hex, the best prefix is Mitosis, recurring being second best. Another must-have grenade mod is the Fish Slap, which can drop as part of the Cartel event only from Joey Ultraviolet, Fish Slap, or Tyrone Smallens. The Fish Slap is easily the most busted grenade mod in the game, and that's all because this grenade doesn't explode, instead it slaps you. Because it deals melee damage, there's a lot more to tap into than regular grenade damage, and Amara can plug a lot of cords into the outlet. So much so that this thing will make enemies disappear simply by touching them. It's great on a Peregrine Flak who can use the rack to just drop out a line and reel in the damage. Just watch out for me $1,000,000th on the backswing. And if you want to get the most damage out of it, make sure yours is elemental with triple link rolls. Onto the Ghast Call, which belongs to the Bloody Harvest event and drops most often from Captain Haunt, with a very slim chance to drop from Loot Ghosts. With this equipped, you'll throw a skull that, on explosion, will spawn 3 vengeful spirits that'll hunt down your enemies. It has fantastic mobbing potential and is great against bosses too, making it perfect for a Peregrine build. It only comes corrosive, can't come anointed, and the rare Vindicator variant is the one you'll want for maximum damage. Lastly, for grenade mods, we have the Lightspeed, another one that comes in all the flavors. This one can only be dropped by Anathema during the Guardian takedown. The Lightspeed is a grenade mod particularly known for its damage dealing. When thrown, it'll teleport to the impact point, releasing a flurry of shrapnel that'll home into nearby enemies. It can deal some great damage, and it's worth it purely for the spectacle. On to base game artifacts, where we'll start with the Unleash the Dragon, which can only be obtained by defeating L Dragon Jr., you can find around here in Jacob's Estate. The Unleash the Dragon is a unique artifact that causes any melee, slam or slide damage to set that target on fire. Unlike your typical dot, these ones deal damage based on the initial hit and can be extremely powerful. It serves to enhance the flaming punch factor of other melee based items, and best rolls include a boost to melee damage and fire damage. Next, the Static Charge, which has an increased chance to drop from Artemis, you can find hanging out around here in Floodmoor Basin. The Static Charge grants a 100% bonus shock damage to your slides, but regardless of sliding, your melee damage will gain 100% bonus shock damage too. Dealing any melee damage will chain 25% shock damage to 1 or 2 nearby enemies, which makes it fantastic when using weapons like the Blade Fury or Face Puncher. It works on anything that deals melee damage though, so that includes the Fish Slap, and it is the #1 all-round melee artifact. The Deathless is another artifact you might want to pick up. This one has an increased chance to drop from Phoenix, you can find around here in the Splinterlands. The Deathless caps your health to 1, but doubles your shield capacity, increases its recharge rate by 25%, and reduces its delay by 1/4. It's a great option if you're wanting to activate URAD anointments 24/7, but also pairs incredibly well with Moze with a Bloodletter equipped, allowing you to put even more eggs in that shield basket. The Victory Rush is another artifact that you should get your hands on. It has an increased chance to drop from Azalea, you can find around here in Jacob's estate. It grants bonuses to movement speed and damage at 18% after you defeat a badass enemy, and that effect lasts for 60 seconds. While mobbing, it's safe to say that that effect will always be active, and its movement speed bonus is particularly useful for its speed focused Zane or spiritual driver Amara. For artifacts that can roll with all passives like the Victory Rush, generally you should be looking for max size, area of effect damage in either slot 2 or 3, action skill cooldown rate, and if you're doing a melee focused build you'll definitely want to boost that too. The other passive stats that I'd generally look out for across the artifacts, but with base game artifacts there's also prefixes too. Some I'd recommend is Elemental Projector, as touched on before, as it provides a bonus 129% elemental damage for any elemental status effects applied to you. Flesh Melter can be pretty fun while mobbing to stack a massive increase in corrosive damage. Icebreaker is perfect for Zane, particularly with the Frozen Heart synergy, granting 50% increased damage to frozen enemies and 61% cryo efficiency at level 72. The Cut Purse is also a great prefix, providing all your melee, slide or slam damage the ability to restore your ammo. The Stone prefix is a must-have, particularly for melee builds. It grants 80% bonus elemental damage to any melee, slide or slam attacks, and it's the perfect prefix for the static charge. Speaking of melee builds, Knife Drain is great to apply lifesteal to all your melee attacks. Snowdrift is a fantastic quality of life prefix, granting you increased slide speed, which Zane or a spiritual driver Amara can use to increase their damage also. Lastly, Sparkplug can be a lot of fun to plant coils each time you slam, and is a necessity on Immortal Snowshoe Moze, which we touched on before. Moving on to base game class mods, which we'll do by Vault Hunter, starting with Amara. The Fazerka class mod is one of her best, with an increased chance to drop from the Hag of Fervor, which can be located by travelling to this point of Jacob's estate. The Fazerka focuses on increasing Amara's rush stack effectiveness, providing 3% weapon damage and action skill cooldown rate per stack, and bumping the total up to 25. When fully stacked, that's 75% more weapon damage and action skill cooldown rate, allowing you to activate those deadly siren powers even more often, coupling perfectly with the Blue Tree capstone. The Spiritual Driver is another good one. This one can only be dropped by Celestro when on Mayhem 4 or above. You can find around here in the Tanzandera ruins. This class mod causes you to apply your action skill element to yourself after activating your action skill, which opens a window of opportunity. But it doesn't stop there, increasing your gun damage the faster you move, up to a total of 500%. Because of that, you'll definitely want points in Mindfulness, which will automatically be procced each time you activate your action skill. This class mod is designed for damage through move speed, and it synergizes well with an Elemental Projector artifact. Onto Flak and the Bounty Hunter, which has an increased chance to drop from Lieutenant Preston. You can find around here in the Tanzandera ruins. This class mod is similar to Zane's Seeing Dead class mod, where each shot has a 3% chance to activate any kill skills, and that'll happen often when using multi-palleted weapons. It's a great well-rounded class mod that can have Flak performing at its peak without needing to kill numerous people. Because bosses are also treated as 3 enemy types, they are applied multiple debuffs instead of the one, making it well suited there, and you just can't go wrong with this mod. Another solid choice for pet builds is the Red Fang, which has an increased chance to drop from Tyrant of Instinct in the trial of the same name, and you can grab the coordinates by heading around here in Floodmold Basin. The Red Fang causes all enemies to attack your pet as long as it is alive, and Gamma Burst is active. That provides a solid safety net for Flak, who sometimes needs it, and the best pet to pair with this class mod is the War Loader bot. For Zane, the Executor is a must-have, particularly if you've got Purple Tree. There's an increased chance to drop from Baron Noggin, who you can find chilling out around here in the Meridian Metroplex. The Executor is a class mod that adds to Zane's many kill skills by providing one of its own. On kill, you'll get 20% increased cryo and elemental effect damage, 11% extra elemental effect chance, 86% improved accuracy and handling, and the main one, a massive 75% boost to crit damage. Because it's a kill skill, it'll also be activated by Death Follows Close and Seeing Red, where the latter will enable you to activate it simply by activating an action skill. When you have the cannon, that's made easy, and if you're not using splash weapons, you won't find a better class mod for Zane. The Antifreeze is also a solid choice. This one is a Mayhem 4+ class mod, dropping from the final boss of the Trial of Discipline, which you can find the coordinates for by heading around here in the Meridian outskirts. This is a class mod that synergizes with momentum, increasing your weapon damage by 40% and reducing damage taken by 20% whenever you're sliding or airborne. It also negates the effect of any cryo damage you take, reducing the movement speed penalty completely. The main benefit of this class mod is in its ability to roll with skills that increase movement speed or your damage based on it, fitting best in builds where you gotta go fast. Moving on to modes, where we'll start with the Blast Master, which has an increased chance to drop from King Nasher. You fight around here in the Amber Mine. The Blast Master increases your splash damage up to 100% the longer you go without reloading, and it takes about 50 seconds to reach the cap. Speccing modes for the splash often means you'll never reload, allowing you to ride this damage cap forever. You'll often find it to be a fantastic all-time bonus, whatever the situation. Now to the Bloodletter, which has an increased chance to drop from the Skag of Survival from the trial of the same name, and you can locate it by heading to this point in Devil's Razor. The Bloodletter is one of the more unique class mods in the game, transforming health into shield and therefore shield into health. Essentially what that means is anytime you should gain health, you'll instead gain shield. And it also increases your shield recharge delay by 150% and reduces its rate by 50%. It is this item that is a necessity for the snowshoe interaction, which is capable of some pretty crazy results on Moze. It's also the class mod you'll want to equip if you want to have monstrous shields and therefore are looking to make Iron Bear jealous. Now to the Minesweeper, one of my favourite class mods. This one has an increased chance to drop from Archer Row. You can find around here in the Meridian Metroplex, but only after you've completed the quest Dynasty Diner. The Minesweeper grants you a 25% chance for a micro grenade to drop at the impact point of any of your critical hits. They scale off splash damage, get boosted by grenade damage, and get the element of the weapon that summoned them. They can also hit criticals, and with Pull the Holy Pin, can summon a chain of micro grenades that keep getting stronger and stronger. It's a class mod that does have the potential to down you, but the micro grenades are incredibly powerful. It's also an avenue for non-splash damage weapons to deal splash damage, massively increasing the amount of weapons you can use to dominate the Borderlands on Moze. The Rocketeer is also a solid choice, with an increased chance to drop from Tumor Head. You can find around here in the underground of Electric City. The Rocketeer is great in builds where you don't want to be an Iron Bear, but still want Iron Bear to deal some damage. It causes Auto Bear to last the rest of the duration that Iron Bear had left when you exit it, giving you another friend on the battlefield. It can also roll with some pretty gnarly skills, mainly fire in the Skag Den, and has been a consistently high performing class mod. If you're looking for a base game class mod for Iron Bear, then you'll want to go with Bear Trooper, which has an increased chance to drop from Anointed X4, who you can find around here in the Anvil, but only after you've completed the quest Malevolent Practice. The Bear Trooper is a great class mod for increasing the amount of time you can spend in Iron Bear, cause I know it's cozy in there. It increases the maximum fuel by 50% and reduces fuel use by the same amount, essentially doubling the time if you add both of those together. Some honourable mentions from the base game include the Version OM, a fantastic amp shield that provides 125% bonus damage. Also on Shield Break, it summons a circle which, if you stand in it, will increase your damage by 50%, but also your action skill damage. So Zane can use this to apply that damage boost to his clone through an action skill start anointment. The Messy Breakup is a pretty cool shield that you can use to summon a bunch of drones on flak. Commander Planetoid can be incredibly useful when you're farming Iridium, applying a random element to each of your melee attacks, potentially granting you more Iridium per punch. The Moxie's Endowment is another great utility artifact, increasing the amount of XP you get from combat. At level 72 you'll get an extra 14%, and you might ask, why is that necessary if I'm already capped? Well, it also applies to Vault Card XP and Guardian rank, so if you're looking for a little bit of something, then Moxie will give it to you. The Electric Banjo is one of the only artifacts that has a legendary effect which works inside Iron Bear, making it incredibly useful when using weapons that don't deal splash damage. Each projectile has a 20% chance to proc a chain of lightning which connects to a nearby enemy, dealing 25% of that damage as shock. And because Iron Bear is so powerful, these chains will also be deadly. The front loader is also a decent item from the base game, capping your health at 40% and applying the loss 60 to your shield. That allows you to activate URAD anointments, which can be helpful. Now to DLC, where we start with the handsome Jackpot. The only worthy gear here include class mods for 3 of the Vault Hunters, which are best farmed for by infinitely farming Freddy at the end of the VIP tower. If you main Zane, you'll want to pick up a Seeing Dead class mod, which grants a 4% chance of any of your or your clone's damage to activate all of your kill skills, and increases their bonuses by 10%. This class mod was a game changer for Zane, and if you don't have Force skill tree, it is the best. For Moze, DLC 1 offers up the Green Monster, which grants up to 100% bonus corrosive damage and 100% bonus splash damage the longer you go while holding down the trigger. The buff will reset if you reload or swap weapons, or the next time you fire. It's essentially a hidden Blastmaster with bonus corrosive damage, where you'll reach the cap of the splash damage after 50 seconds, but the corrosive damage after just 13 and a bit. It's great on weapons like the Butcher, Boogeyman or Flipper, where you can constantly ride the highs of both bonuses. For Flak, the Stack Bot is a great class mod. This one increases your weapon damage by 5% for each critical hit you get, and it stacks up to 99 times. However, any damage that isn't a crit, and that includes any punchy, grenades or pet damage, will reset the buff. However, it's fantastic when using weapons like the Monarch in a fadeaway build, where you'll land crits at a phenomenal rate. It also has a pretty sweet interaction with the Face Puncher, where you can stack up your class mod to apply that 500% damage boost to the Face Puncher 24/7. Now to Guns, Love and Tentacles, and there's some pretty neat stuff in here. First up, the Old God, which has an increased chance to drop from Eleanor of the Heart around here in Heart's Desire, but your best bet is to farm a March around here in Curse Haven. The Old God is a shield from times when shields didn't boost your damage, however this one did, providing a nice 20% increase in elemental damage, matching the element of the shield. Although like most shields it was later outshined, it still remains good for those without Season Pass 2. Another cool shield from this DLC is the Void Rift, which can only be dropped by Empowered Scholar. You can find around here in Dustbound Archives. This shield causes enemies to ragdoll whenever it is depleted, and it'll fire off homing spikes at the same time. With an action skill starved anointment, this shield can be a lot of fun. Of course, we can't cover best gear from Guns, Love and Tentacles without mentioning the Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge, a quest reward given by Claptrap after completing the quest The Call of Githian. This artifact is essentially easy damage, providing 1% extra gun damage each time you hit an enemy and stacking up to 15 times. However, when maxing those stacks, you get a bonus 90% to gain over 100% bonus gun damage. It can roll with limited stats though, with the best ones being mag size and fire rate, and it's an artifact you can never go wrong with, and is much less RNG intensive. Now onto the Psycho Krieg DLC. Yes, Bounty of Blood gave us no good gear. The first one we'll cover from Krieg's mind is the Plus Ultra, a shield that can come in all the flavors, with an increased chance to drop from Dr. Benedict you can find around here in the Benediction of Pain. The Plus Ultra always spawns with a 25% chance to absorb projectiles, and when one is absorbed, you'll gain 30% cooldown rate for 4 seconds. It doesn't end there though, as it will also double your maximum health. That boost to max health also affects Iron Bear, making it a shield with big ticks for survivability, and the added cooldown rate comes in handy too. Next, the Faulty Star, which can also come in all the elements, and this one has an increased chance to drop from Loco Mobius. You can find around here in Sapphire's Run. The unique effect of this shield is to cause novas around the attacking enemy whenever you're damaged. But it's not just you though. On a flak pet build, whenever your pet's attacked, those novas will erupt around enemies, having them pop like bubbles. This DLC also gave each Vault Hunter a great class mod. For Zane, it was the Hustler, which has an increased chance to drop from Loco Mobius, who again you fight around here in Sapphire's Run. This class mod's unique effect is to allow any of your non-critical hits to count as criticals and deal bonus damage. When coupled with Eraser, this class mod is god tier, allowing all of your splash damage to hit criticals, and summon an extremely powerful Eraser projectile which can summon another itself. It's one of the most busted interactions in the game, and it's all thanks to this class mod. Next up is Moze's Flare, which has an increased chance to drop from Evil Mordecai. You can find around here alongside Evil Brick and Castle Crimson. This class mod excels at making Iron Bear even stronger, not that that's even needed. It grants 100% increased damage while Iron Bear is active, with that bonus decreasing as you spend fuel. If Iron Bear wasn't powerful enough for you, then this class mod has you covered. The Peregrine is another great class mod, this one for Flak, which has an increased chance to drop from Dr. Benedict, who again you can find around here in the Benediction of Pain. The Peregrine might not seem like a lot on the surface, but trust me it is, allowing your rack to drop grenades on top of enemies, and when that grenade's a Fish Slap or Gust Call and you're holding the Guardian Angel in your hands, nothing will be able to stop you. It's insane what the rack delivery system can do, and I highly recommend you to try it out. Lastly, the Muse, a class mod for Amara. This one has an increased chance to drop from Evil Lilith, who you can find around here on top of Castle Crimson. The Muse is a class mod most often used for its ability to roll with one in Illuminated Fist, granting a bonus 75% melee damage. When it launched it could roll with 3, but that has been addressed in a later patch. Either way, it still provides a nice boost to the punchy. On to the designer's cut now, where we'll start with the Madcap, a shield that has an increased chance to drop from this chest room. The main reason you want a Madcap is to get one with 3 turtle rolls and make that shield super fat. I mean thick, I don't really know at this point. Either way, this shield couples incredibly well with the Bloodletter class mod, allowing Moze to make that blue bar incredibly big. Regardless of your Vault Hunter, you'll want to pick up the Infernal Wish. This one has an increased chance to drop from this chest room. What makes the Infernal Wish so great is it adds 1 projectile to each of your shots. And because it's an extra projectile, you'll proc all your skills again. It's more than simply 100% bonus damage, it's 100% more of everything. However, if you fire too much, it will burn you, and that's the caveat with this shield. You won't have much of a problem when using heavy weapons, and it's particularly useful in any one-shot builds or on a Mitosis Moze. Coupling with that greatly is the Toboggan, an artifact with an increased chance to drop from this chest room. When you slide with the Toboggan equipped, you'll gain a protective bubble, which halves all incoming damage for 10 seconds. Shooting while the bubble is active will consume it, applying 100% amp damage to that shot. It also doubles your slide speed as you're sliding, making it the perfect artifact for not only one-shotting, but characters that deal bonus damage based on their speed. Good class mods from Arms Race include the Spy. This one has an increased chance to drop from this chest room. The Spy activates all of Zane's kill skills after he uses the last charge of his Mantis Cannon. They'll also gain 10% increased effectiveness and last for a bonus 8 seconds. What makes it better is its ability to roll with 1 point in Owlman Flint, a great damage boosting skill. One reason Moze will want to hop into Arms Race is for the Eternal Flame, which has an increased chance to drop from this chest room. The Eternal Flame has the potential to reset Iron Bear instantly. Once you're out, you'll be back in, and it's all thanks to this. Whenever you ignite an enemy, you'll have a 15% chance to reset your action skill, and because Moze has many flame based skills, that comes easy. It is the best class mod for maintaining Iron Bear uptime, and I highly recommend it. To the director's cut, where we have to start with the Revolter, a completely overpowered shield which has an increased chance to drop from Sumo. You can find around here in Eschaton Row. Whenever the Revolter completely depletes, your character will become mad. They'll be shock enraged, gaining 200% bonus shock damage, and fire all weapons 50% faster. That bonus shock damage doesn't just apply to your guns, but your action skills, melee, and grenades too. It's an absolutely insane boost, easily applied through an action skill start anointment. The Manuel is another shield, this one obtained from the Bunker Master's Vault card. When you slam, it'll drain 9% of your max shield capacity per second, while you gain 90% damage reduction and 100% bonus shock damage. It synergizes particularly well with the Bloodletter Moze, allowing you to maintain its bonuses with enough shield steal. The Mesmer is a pretty neat grenade mod from the director's cut. This one has an increased chance to drop from Gravekeeper. You can find around here in Enoch's Grove. Whenever anyone's caught up in the blast radius, they'll turn into allies, and enemies will often start fighting them. That's a great boost to survivability, and it allows Vault Hunters with skills like Trick of the Light to be active when they otherwise wouldn't be. The Company Man is another artifact I'd recommend. This one always drops from Hemovorous the Invincible. You fight around in Darkthirst Dominion. The Company Man provides manufacturer specific bonuses. On top of the normal passives you can get in artifacts. The best 3 manufacturer bonuses include critical hit damage, max size, and regular damage. A gold rolled Company Man is great, but also incredibly rare. Now to the Shaluta, an artifact that you can grab from the Welcome to Pandora Vault card. The Shaluta increases will drop legendary chance by 2000% for 12 seconds after you get a kill. That is a big bonus, but you have to remember that it only enhances drops rather than create some of its own. That makes it best when used in combination with the Loot Explosion modifier and when the Bloody Harvest is active. It will affect DLCs too, but only DLC will drops, and if you wanted more orange on your screen if you ever needed that, then go ahead and equip it. The director's cut did give us one great class mod, and that was for Moze, in the form of the Heat Exchanger, which has an increased chance to drop from the Seer you fight at the end of that questline. The Heat Exchanger increases Iron Bear and Iron Cub's minigun damage by up to 80%, increasing as the minigun overheats. It'll do more for the minigun than the flare, and is what you want to have equipped to get maximum damage out of them.